Tonight on the Mac to the Future Livecast Go, because case makers aren't known for wanting to waste good plastic for unsellable cases. We now know what the iPhone SE 2 or 9 or something will look like. Also, Bluetooth isn't sexy enough for the market, so now Airpods are part of the true wireless hearables, or whatever, which Apple is dominating. All of that tonight and more on the Mac to the Future Livecast. Go. And welcome everyone to the Mac to the Future Livecast Go, or Mac to the Future Go Livecast. I'm never going to get that right, ever. Never, 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 never. I appreciate the fact that you are all here to watch whatever crazy nonsense is going to come from not only me, but also Dave Ginsburg and Warren Sklar. And tonight we're going to start with Dave. Dave, how you doing? Uh-oh. No audio from you, Dave.
Oh, no.
Wah, wah. So we're going to do this. We're going to go to Warren instead. Hello, Warren. Oh, stop it. Come on. Don't play with my emotions. I hear your chair squeaking.
Happy love.
I know you're there.
I'm here. No, I'm good. Things are happening. I bought a MIDI keyboard. I'm doing some things on GarageBand on the iPad and the Macs, which is fun. I bought a Windows laptop, and I'm starting my first full-time job in like 15 years in a week and a half, because it's I'm bored.
At any given time, do you have to say, do you want fries with that?
We'll find out. I don't know.
Well, we're gonna try Dave again and see if he's back up and working. Dave? No. We still don't have Dave. All right. Well, what we're gonna do? We had him just a second ago. I don't know what happened.
He touched something.
He's like, come on, come on. It's not working. Well, what we're gonna do? This would not be a Mac to the Future Livecast if something didn't go seriously and utterly wrong. Okay,
I could dub for Dave if he talks. I'll talk. Say something.
What, sign language?
No. Watch. Hi, I'm Dave. All right.
Well, we're going to head right over into quick takes. Intel.
I'll work on
pulls out, and actually this is kind of breaking. Intel pulls out of the Mobile World Conference 2020 out of coronavirus fears, though they will have announcements, but they won't have announcements because the Mobile World Conference for 2020 has been canceled. So, that's kind of frightening. I guess he has gone away and he's going to come back.
He's frozen, I think. Yes.
that's a scary look.
It's a good look. I don't know.
I don't know, a little scary.
Anyways, we'll talk. Yeah, they canceled. There he is.
How about now?
Say something.
Yes, we hear you, Dave. He's back.
Yeah. Still can hear me?
Yeah, you were frozen. You were frozen like this.
Yeah, when you change the inputs, when you change audio inputs, it freezes on you.
Yeah. That was a little frightening.
They canceled the Mobile World Conference because of fears of.
And not only that, but there were a lot of the big companies kind of dropped out. Yes, thanks everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We went from like 20 listeners to like 5 while that happens.
No, we're up to 10 now.
We're back up to 10. All right.
So I appreciate the fact that every single one of you are here.
Yes.
Post your stuff in the comments and we will probably say something about it. Usually. So what this is just like another case of this virus that is kind of getting all the news. It's not enough that all of the products that are currently being made in China, I mean, most of the factories are shut down as they, try to get a handle on this virus. Now people are becoming afraid to congregate in masses because nobody really knows how far spread this is yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's in Barcelona, and so there's that, which is far away from Japan or China. People they said they did it out of more of a respect thing, but
no, they did it because most of the companies dropped out. That's why they canceled it. I mean, it's putting a good spin on it, but the fact that most of the major companies had dropped out of it because their people were afraid to catch any of this stuff. So yeah, sure. Put a spin on it all you want, but that's why it was canceled. Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Dave, you wanted to put in this other thing here, so why don't you take that one?
Well, if anybody didn't read the news, a federal judge granted the approval of the merger between T-Mobile and Sprint. There were, I believe, 13 states that were disputing it because they thought it wasn't going to be a good thing
competitive
for the market, any competitive, and all kinds of other stuff. You know what? It's going to be fine. I think it's a smart move on Sprint's part because Sprint was struggling. They were having some challenges financially. So who knows where they would have been if that would have continued. So, and I know the FCC is pushing to get Dish Network to become possibly the fourth cellular carrier because they did sell off some of their properties between T-Mobile and Sprint. So it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. That means instantaneously T-Mobile Sprint will be a very big company. And
do you think that Sprint as a company is going to disappear?
Yes. T-Mobile they're going to use
is T-Mobile going to continue to support CDMA? Because Sprint was on CDMA. They weren't on.
Sure, why not?
Crap. What's the other one?
They're buying all their towers.
GSM.
They're buying all their equipment.
Yeah. They're going to
but it's not compatible.
What do you mean it's not compatible? They're buying their towers.
Verizon CDMA too. I mean, they go both ways, especially when it's with their phones international. And now phones nowadays are universal as it is anyway. So
yeah, but I mean CDMA as a mobile standard is kind of on its way out. Pretty much most of the major companies have all gone GSM.
Except for Verizon.
Yeah,
Verizon
but I'm talking about
CDMA,
outside of the U.S. There is almost no CDMA.
Mm-hmm. That is correct. So I think who knows what's. I mean, what do you think? I mean, I'm pretty confident that the GSM standard is going to be, going forward.
It's going to be the dominant standard. George Brooks says this is another nail in his CDMA coffin. And yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
I mean, anybody who has a Sprint service, if you're thinking they're just going to, not stop working after this is taken over, I guarantee they'll figure out a way to get them on their network somehow. Whether it's, just keeping up the service until it goes away. I think, eventually LTE is going to take over for everything, I guess. Here am I on the wrong standard? No, LTE is going to be
LTE or 5G.
Well, yeah,
5G,
those are frequency standards. I'm talking about the actual radios, not the radios. I guess they're receivers. Transceivers inside of the phones, whether, the two big standards, at least in the US, is CDMA and GSM, with most other companies now on GSM.
And nowadays, I mean, you buy an iPhone, you can, I mean, you have to declare what carrier you're going to have, but they can be used with any carrier now. I mean,
they all have all the radios on it.
They have both radios, so it doesn't really. I mean, I don't think it's It's a mute factor.
In any case, it's going to...
That's what will happen if you don't have the right one. It'll be mute.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hopefully with T-Mobile, it just means I get better signal wherever I go. So
yes, we'll get on more Sprint towers too.
Okay,
Yeah,
well let's move over. We have two main stories. The main story I've got is from Apple Insider. It says, will it even be called iPhone? This has to do with the iPhone SE 2 / iPhone 9, who knows. Different case makers are apparently betting on a form factor for the as yet unannounced by Apple cheap iPhone, which will be called, that's about the only part that's unknown according to these same case makers. The phone is said to be the same form factor as the iPhone 6, 7, and 8, with a 4.7-inch screen and A13 processor, and in a surprising callback, Touch ID instead of Face ID, and will retail in the neighborhood of $400. Now, putting aside the case makers, whether or not they've got that right or not, we can come back to that. An iPhone with an A13 processor and most of the standard stuff that people want from a smartphone, I think that this will be huge if Apple actually does it. It's not a great big phone slab like you have with the 10 Max or the 11 Pro. It is kind of a callback to the regular size 6, 7, and 8 phones, and I think that especially if they've updated the internals in it to pretty much what you got with a 10, that this could be a tremendous seller for Apple, like they needed that in the wearables phone market. What do you think, Warren?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about before, but when people are asking, what phone they want to buy, and they'll ask for advice, and it's they don't want to spend a lot of money, they're like, should I get the iPhone 8? Because they're still selling it. And, for the most part, I say, probably not. I mean, I know they still sell it, but it's not going to last.
It's a 3-year-old phone now.
Yeah. And it has, it's got the definitely not the
13, 11, I think.
Maybe. So for the people who want, an iPhone and don't want to spend upwards of $1,000, your choice right now is an iPhone 8 or nothing if you want to buy it from Apple. So this is going to be huge. I mean, if they're going to go ahead and buy,
especially at that price.
Yeah. I mean, who knows if it's going to be that low, but, there's definitely a market for people who do not want high-end phones, but wants an iPhone. They don't care. A lot of people don't even know. Some have Face ID and Touch ID. They don't care. A lot of people don't care about the screen size. All they want to know is, and people get scared. Like when, they'll have like a 6 or 7 and you'll say, well, Apple doesn't really, not support it, but it won't get the updates, and that just freaks people out. So that's like the big seller for like people.
Right,
who,
it's not true.
It's not always. Well, it is true in some things, but why did people upgrade their phones? Right, they broke, so they have to get a new phone. They're lost or broken, or they're out of date, or people like Dave and I who just like to buy them for fun. But the people who like to keep on their phones for a long time are looking for a reason, and then they get scared about obsolete
planned obsolescence.
Yeah. So
that
anyways, word. Yeah, that word. So this is for the people who want to get an iPhone, who don't want to spend a lot of money and don't care about a lot of the features, and it will sell.
All right, Dave.
Yeah, I think the big key here is this SE2 or whatever it's going to be called is its size. There's so many people in the market now that want a smaller size phone, And if it stays true to the 4.7-inch screen or the smaller screen and the smaller form factor, I think that's going to be a huge thing. Now you got to remember the iPhone 11 did sell extremely well in the last quarter. I mean, they sold more phones than ever. So that doesn't necessarily mean that.
Was it the 11 or the 11 Pro?
It was
11.
It was the 11.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is that it definitely sold really well. So, but having it at a price point of $400, oh yeah, I mean, there's going to the market of iPhones is just going to increase just even tremendously, even more than it already is. I mean, if they have it at that price point. So,
and chances are all the people that are still on 6, 7, and 8s, if they're whether or not they're still happy with that phone, a $400 price point to upgrade to definitely a more modern phone, a better phone.
Sure.
That's a huge incentive for them.
There's people who have their phones for a couple of years who might say to themselves, I'm going to treat myself to a nicer, bigger, better phone. But, a lot of...
watch.
Or watch, finally. But you don't you still have an 8? Don't you have an iPhone 8 still?
Yeah, I'm still on the iPhone 8.
I feel so bad for you.
Why?
It doesn't do all the things that are the 11s do.
Yeah.
Does it do robot wants kitty? Yes, it does. Does it do Waze? Yes, it does. And
does
it plays my podcasts. I mean, what am I missing with an 8 that I don't have on the 11? This is a whole nother subject.
Cameras.
I'm thinking
much better
cameras.
Okay, it's got better cameras. Is that worth $1,200 to $1,300 to spend on a new phone?
Yes. The 11's not. You can get the 11 with the two lenses is just as good too, and it's $800. So
$800. That
the 8.
I don't take a whole crap ton of pictures. Okay. So with that being said, the 8 is doing so far everything that I needed to. It's still got great battery life.
It grows hair back.
Oh, if that was true, you could sell me that thing for $2,500 if that was true. I would be so there.
So what made you go with the watch? The heart rate thing?
No, what made me go with the watch mostly was Apple was offering a $100 buyback on the Series 2 and Series 3. And
so if Apple offered a $100 buyback on the iPhone 8.
No, I could get a hell of a lot more than $100
No,
for
you'd
it.
get more on that. They would probably give $200 for the 8.
Well, and to be honest, I have to admit, I did check. I checked on both the iPhone 8 and my first gen iPad Pro. They were offering $150 for the iPad Pro. No, iPad Pro. No, and I was like, you have got to be on drugs. The entire company had to be on drugs. First gen 12.9 inch.
Yeah, so that's pretty low for that.
That is really low.
That is low.
So, and the phone wasn't that much more. I think they were offering like $225, something like that.
That's actually
well. If you trade both of them in, you're close to the iPhone 11. And then
but then I don't have an iPad. I use my iPad all the time. I'm a huge
the
iPad.
iPad you have is fine. You can get another 3 years out of it easy.
Yeah.
And Frank,
the only thing I don't like about my iPad is that it only has 128 gigs of storage, which was the max you could get at the time that I got it. Apple sliced by back prices.
Right. So about 2 weeks ago, Apple cut back some of the buyback prices that they offered on some of the things, but it wasn't everything. I think MacBooks weren't affected, but phones and iPads were. So 3 weeks ago, you might have gotten like 200 and something for the iPad. Seriously. And then they dropped it down. So,
Well, and again, this could be a callback to what's going on with the coronavirus. If there's not a whole lot of supply with, their newer products not being available because they just can't make them, well, then what's the point in offering, a whole lot of money for older products to get you to buy the new stuff if the new stuff isn't even there?
I think they started that actually before the coronavirus.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Unless they caused the coronavirus, then they would have known.
I'm not paranoid. Yeah. Why are you all against me?
Yeah, Frank agrees. It was the cutback was actually before the coronavirus was known to humans.
All right. Well, the last story that we have for the evening looks like this one will be a little bit shorter, guys. Because no one wants false wireless hearables.
What?
Yeah, this is a story from Counterpoint Research. And what they're calling not just the Airpods, but a lot of the devices like this, they're calling them true wireless hearables. And this is what people used to call, and I still do call, Bluetooth earbuds. And they even have an acronym for it, which is TWS. Well, whatever way you want to call it, Apple has over 40% of the entire market, with scads of other companies fighting over second place, with none having more than 5 to 10%. In the plus $100 segment, Apple, Samsung, and Jabra have over 80% of that. The market is so lucrative that Samsung has just released a new version of their Galaxy Buds Plus earpods. Yep. So, I guess, and almost all of these devices connect up via Bluetooth. But apparently that's not sexy enough. So they have to come up with something different, which is true wireless hearables.
I think what they're saying is there's no cable going from one ear to the other ear like in the past.
Right. Yeah, but what difference does it make? It's still their Bluetooth. They connect up via Bluetooth. I mean, these right here, these connect up via Bluetooth, and whether you call them, sliced bread or you call them,
what's this anymore?
Yeah, I mean what Dave has there. That's a Dave has a Bluetooth headset. These are true wireless. So the different, I'm telling you, the difference that they're classifying, whether you care or to agree with it or not, is the cable in between the two, which used to be, or even, even like the Beats, things have the thing on the top. So that,
those are headphones. They're Bluetooth headphones.
Yeah.
Those are, yeah.
Okay, but they're still wireless.
The Bose and the Beats.
They're all wireless. The category now, the new sexiness is two pieces
things
of
in your face.
Things that go in your ear, and that's it. So there's no wire.
Hence, we all have these two things in our ears.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, I think Apple should start working on wireless Kleenex. I think that's the next thing. So that you got something in your ears, and then you got something for your nose. Yeah, true wireless Kleenex.
So then Samsung decides to come out with these new AirPods. Notice that the S20 and all the other models no longer have a headphone jack.
Yep. Now
wasn't Samsung one of the companies that was like giving Apple a hard time?
We still have a head jack. Not anymore.
So there's no more flagship phones anymore being sold anywhere with a headphone jack, is what they said.
Well, I'm sure that there's some Android phones out there that are
flagship.
There's
no
phones.
flagship
ones that are.
There's no more.
What, including the Pixels, the Google Pixels?
Yeah, they dropped the headphone jack, I think, a while ago.
What does Frank mean by he thought I hadn't washed?
I don't know.
I don't understand, Frank. I'm so confused.
Wash?
I did wash.
I smell you.
See? Right there. Smell-o-vision.
Elbow. Elbow.
Oh, your ears.
Well, there you go.
Oh.
Truly wireless.
Copyright.
Okay. I understand now. Well, that's
Ears. pacemakers. Yeah.
That's pretty much all I got for tonight, guys. Did either one of you have anything you wanted to talk about? I know that you guys are recording In Touch with iOS tomorrow, right? Or are you going to do that tonight?
Nah, probably tomorrow. Yeah, what else is going on? New updates. There's all the updates that came out last week, I think. We talked about that came out after our show last week.
MacStock. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Last weekend of July is going to be MacStock for 2020. If
the website isn't updated yet.
No, it hasn't updated yet. But according, Mike has already pretty much said it's going to be the last weekend of July, whatever that weekend is. If you haven't been to MacStock, I highly, highly recommend it. It's so much fun. It's like all the best of Macworld without the case makers, and that alone makes
I like case makers.
So
do I.
Well, yeah, but when you're walking an entire show floor of an expo, and pretty much the only thing you're seeing are cases, it gets old pretty quick. It really, really does. The last couple of years of the Macworld Expo weren't as much fun as they had been. But anyway,
Apple pulled.
Go check out. Mike will have the website updated for MacStock 2020. If you can swing it, and it's not like you're staying in Chicago. Chicago's very expensive to stay in, but this is Woodstock,
where
Illinois,
am I going to be?
And it's relatively inexpensive. And
it's
2 days. Actually,
move it
you know what? It's like 3 days of fun because there's usually all kinds of stuff going on Friday as well.
Can't you just move it closer to me?
The entire thing, just
yes, the event. Just move it.
All right. Well, we'll get a shovel and we'll start digging around Woodstock. And give it a great big push. And
you don't have to move the entire town; just move the actual thing. There's hotels here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to stay. I think it's going to stay in Woodstock, Illinois. Whatever. So it's real close to Chicago, so it's real easy to get to. Frank Petrie will be there. He's been there, I think, for all of them. Marcus should go since he's not that far from it. He's just down there in Minnesota. That's where he is. He's in Minnesota. So he should be able to go. And you're like 2 hours closer than I am, Warren.
To Chicago?
Yeah, if you want, I'll because I haven't decided whether I'm going to take a train or rent a car. So if you want to go, I'll rent a car. I'll come up to Pennsylvania and we'll do a road trip.
That would be way out of the way for you. Yeah.
Well, we'll see if you're doing a good part of the driving, then not really. I can sleep.
Yeah, I don't drive that far. I
really?
Fly everywhere. Yeah, okay. I like to fly.
Well, then I won't be stopping in Pennsylvania.
you can stop. You can come pick me up.
You can stop. I just might not be here. So.
So sad. Okay. Well, hopefully Warren will be there. I know Dave will be there. Dave will definitely be there. Yeah. And there hasn't been...
at Dave's house.
Yeah, just hang out at Dave's house. I'm sure his wife would love that.
The lake house.
But as soon as Mike updates the website, oh, crap. The video was interrupted.
Yeah, I just saw it. It went dark.
Oh, well.
We went dark.
Well, we're still recording, though, as far as I know.
It came back up, I think.
Well, I'm still seeing it as being down, but it doesn't matter. We're gonna end this anyway. So for anyone who watches this afterwards, after it gets edited, thank you also very much for being here in this somewhat abbreviated Mac to the Future Go live cast. We really do appreciate it. Dave, if people wanted to get a hold of you, how would they do it?
They will do it by going to intouchwithios.com, where I and my awesome co-host, Warren Sklar, do In Touch with iOS,
know that guy.
Our podcast. You know that guy. Too. And I also am president of the Suburban Chicago Apple Users. That's at myscau.org. If you want to find out more about that. We just had a meeting last Saturday. A lot of fun. So always good things to do when it comes to getting the people that love Apple together to talk tech. And my Twitter handle, I'm on there as well, DaveG65.
And Warren?
Pretty much what he said without all the Twitter stuff. Oh,
Okay.
I'm also not president of the Chicago user group, but most of the other stuff is sounds good.
It's the same thing.
It's all the same.
Joined at the hip. Right. Got it. If you'd like to get a hold of me, you can contact me via email, guy@mymac.com. I can be found on the Twitters, though. I've been trying to kind of stay away from it lately because Twitter is just such a cesspool. Mac Parrot or Vert Shark. I also do. I do another podcast, the MyMac.com podcast with Gaz Maz. Though Gaz isn't going to be on this week. I'm going to have Mike Edom on to talk about Hackintosh.
Mike's going to eat them?
He is.
He's going to eat them? That's
right
horrible.
So if I don't show up, you know I've been eaten.
I feel bad for Gaz. He's going to be eaten by Mike.
Well, Mike is in I think California, so that would be a hell of a job. If you would like to help support the things that I do, you can find me on Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/MacParrot, on Patreon, patreon.com/MacParrot. Also, you can do that PayPal thing, paypal.me/MacParrot.
PayPal.
And I think PayPal, it's all right there. So thank you all so very, very much for joining us tonight on the Mac to the Future livecast. We do. And we shall see you hopefully next week. Say goodnight.
Say goodnight.